What is happening, everybody? I'm Matty7 and welcome to a brand new Fortnite video. Now in today's video I'm going to be gifting you an awesome guide on locations that you can go and visit where you can discover the brand new apples that have been added into Fortnite Battle Royale that can gift anywhere between 5 and 100 HP, meaning this could be a game changer in those desperate situations. There's also a V-Buck giveaway linked in the description below for all you guys, so make sure that you hit that up and get entered into that as well. So taking a look at our 10th location, we'll be counting down to number 1 today. We're going to be jumping over to the Racetrack, one of the popular locations this week due to the fact that everyone's trying to jump there to get their treasure star. Now in the top right hand corner I've got a nice little little guide all the way throughout this so that you guys can see clearly where I'm about to land. Now these trees around this area you can find apples. As you can see, I'm landing straight down. It's right next to that meteor crater right there. Now there's barely any conflict here. Obviously you're naturally not going to land directly on top of this location, but at least you know where it is. So for example, if you got into some conflict at that crater right there or at Racetrack and you were heading over to say the likes of Retail Row, you're able to just come here, pick up the apples, and hopefully the game gives you the luck that you need to get as much HP that you possibly can get a hold of. Obviously I'm just chilling here, just eating my popcorn, enjoying the view of those apples on the ground. Taking a look at our 9th location, we're going to be going over to Loot Lake. Now Loot Lake, obviously a very popular place due to one of the locations of the ducks being there. Rather cool in my opinion. I love those aspects added into the game. Once again, you have a map in the top right hand corner. This is the location that we're going to be landing on, this small little campfire island section here just on the side. What we're going to be doing is landing right here and at this tree right here. You could sometimes, if you're lucky, this is one where you're not going to find a lot of them, but if you're lucky enough they'll spawn here. Now of course we have a friend over there just chopping away, completely clueless, not even knowing that there's apples right next to him. Mate, if you just turned around, there's apples here, bro. There's apples. No? Okay. I guess he doesn't want the apples. Now, if anyone gets in any conflict as well on the middle island or any of the other islands around here, even the modern building as well, which is a popular location, you'll be able to get those apples, head over here and get some heals as well. Taking a look at our 8th location, we're going to be jumping over to the one and only Retail Row, where you can also find, just so you know, 2 ducks. There's 2 different duck locations, which is pretty snazzy. So if you head over to the same location where you're going to find the actual duck, right next to the little generator room, the water tower, which is pretty much an indestructible tower. I've heard a lot of good things about that one. Right here in this top right section here, you'll be able to find loads of apples just lying around on the grass. Now these of course are really handy because the location where you found them right now is right by the side of the shops. We all know conflict goes down on the rooftops. We all know that they kick off everywhere else in the middle street. So once you finish, if you're the lucky few that actually survive Retail Row, you better head over here, get yourself some obviously health. Maybe hopefully you have some good loot and you might not even need to worry about eating apples. Or if you're passing through this location, because a lot of the spawns and a lot of the end game will be now on the edge of the game, obviously you might have to pass through the likes of Retail Row to get there. Same with locations like this. We have a second area in Retail Row as well. This is our 7th location. We might as well do them back to back just so you guys know exactly where else you can go in this place. Not only do you have them on the top side by the water tower, you can also come down here in the actual little settlement of houses, and here where the cars are parked right next to here on this little flat there's 2 trees, and by the sides of these trees once again you have lots more apples. Now I'm a fan of landing on the actual house side, so I prefer residential versus the business. A lot of people do like taking the shop side, and that's the reason they've added the apples on the top side and the bottom side, is because when we do the initial jump in here it is very separate, and until you've actually cleaned out quite a lot of enemies you don't really cross to the other side of Retail Row. So this is going to be very handy for anyone jumping at the houses, and the other one I've just showed you will be handy for anyone jumping at the shops. Now let's move over to a completely different location, not too far away from Retail Row, for our 6th location today. Our 6th location is going to be in the top right hand quadrant of the map, and it is going to be our good old friend Tomato Town. Now if they had been tomatoes, let's say, instead of actual apples, well, this would have been a great place to name it, but unfortunately there's no tomatoes, it is just apples. Now these trees here just to the left hand side that you can see right here, right next to the houses, you're going to be able to find anywhere around this area. They can even sometimes appear just by this log up ahead. They can also appear on the right hand side slightly on the hill, but these houses around here, there's a lot of these trees, and these trees will spawn apples for you. Great spot if you get into a little bit of a sticky situation heading from Tomato Town, or maybe Risky Reels, and now of course from Wayland Woods as well. Wayland Woods unfortunately doesn't have any, so this is going to be the closest location if you are someone who's just survived a bit of conflict from Wayland Woods. You're going to have to come over to this area to get those extra spare heals. Now, when it comes to actual Wayland Woods itself, it isn't inside of Wayland Woods, but around the area there's of course lots of other variants of different trees. So the area that is another good one that you can also go to, it's one of those places where, for example, you're going to get loads of brick. If you need brick for a build, or whether you wanted to start the game with brick, this is another area you come to. Myself and Addy actually came to this location to get loads of brick when we were doing the actual build of his house. This is one of the best locations to have a early start, grab a hold of some brick. Now you can get apples here too, and then if you want to go into Tomato Town, you can get the loot from there as well. It's entirely up to you which way you actually move around and flow around in the different areas. And if you're loving, by the way, the new outfits and the things that I'm mixing up, I have everything set to random. Not only is the ideas that Epic added to the game random, but so are my outfits. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Let's head over to our next location. So we are now looking at our fourth location. We're going to be heading over to the one and only Salty Springs, which used to be the Tilted Towers before Tilted Towers. I mean, if you used to land there, let me know in the comments below. It's a beastly location. Now, just behind the tower near Salty Springs, there's a nice little household here, and there's a couple of trees around this area. You can find a ton of apples chilling by this abandoned house. So if you decide to land at the tower, or maybe you just land at the bottom side, the lower side of Salty, and then you need to get an escape, or you're passing through from Fatal Fields all the way over to get to Dusty Divot, you're going to pass these apple trees, and of course you're going to be crazy if you don't go and loot the house, because sometimes you can get some pretty good loot in here as well. You obviously get chests, etc., and so on, as well as some extra ammunition. So it's not only a location where you're going to be able to get apples, you're also going to get some weapons and some potential great loot as well while you carry on with your journey. Now let's move on to the next location where we can find some more delicious apples. We're looking at number 3. Now number 3 is very close to the one and only bridge right next to prison. Now if you jumped here to get the movie locations that we discussed last week, well, here we go. It's the exact same place. Just over by here, you will be able to find yourself some more apples. Great locations. Honestly, these are laid out so well. Reason being for this is we need them to kind of be in the centerpieces of loot runs, and also traffic to move to the next area. So Epic have decided to place them in really smart locations, places where the zone's going to end, or places where we'll have to funnel, you know, our teammates through, and the enemies will have to move through to get to those later locations. Because of course, like I said earlier on in the video, they're now moving those end zones to the side of the map. There's going to be a lot more locations ending towards the edge of the map, meaning we're going to need and rely on a lot of these apples and a lot of health along the way to survive. Now heading to a brand new location, we're looking at number 2. To be honest, these could have all been placed at number 1, 10, wherever. They're all just as awesome as each other because they're all useful, and they're all really used in different travels, let's say, like different variants of, okay, I need to funnel through Tomato Town to get to Wayland Woods. Well, I know there's 3 locations where I can stop off, where I can get apples, or maybe even down towards the bottom side of the map. Now, it tends to be up this right side of the map where you can tend to find them a little bit more, and mid-mass as well. It doesn't tend to be on the left-hand side, but you can, in some locations, find the odd tree. So this place is right next to the beautiful one and only tree that has like Stonehenge surrounding it, right next to the top of Tomato Town, and you have a nice view of what used to be Dusty Depot. Sad times, man. Sad times. If you ain't checked out those videos where we rebuilt Dusty Depot, you're missing out. Definitely check those out. And you've also got the trees down there underneath, and all of those trees along here too can potentially spawn apples for you. Now, like I said, most of the locations, if not all of them, are really just on the right side of the map due to the actual environment that it's in. You can even clearly see right now the separation in the environment. It's not very friendly on the left for apples. So our last location is going to be in Aniki Acres, or at least as close as we can can get to it. So if you're ever jumping Loot Lake and you don't want to go for the campfire, or if you are jumping Aniki Acres or over by Umbrella, for example, this is another area where you can also find them. Not too far from here, you're going to be able to head over towards that little barn. You're going to be able to head further right and go towards Tomato Town. There's so many different routes that you can go through, and it'll flow very nicely, but these trees will gift you all of the apples you need. I hope this guide has helped you all, and I hope that this ultimately impacts your gameplay in a really positive manner. I wish you all the very best of luck, and I hope that loads of you guys get the 100 HP from these versus the 5. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the comments below. Have a wonderful day, 7 Squad. Take care of yourself and be careful with those apples. Peace.